Hi everyone! Today I'm analyzing interview of Mike Tyson, former undisputed heavyweight boxing champion of the world, and I will try to determine various aspects through his speech, behavior, and appearance, and we'll see if I will be able to determine his socionic and psychosopic types. Let's go!
Boom, and we're live.
What's happening, Joe?
What's up, Mike? You were the first guy that I ever used as an example of to break that old myth that you can't have sex before fights. And I was like, well, that's out the window.
For sure.
Because you would talk about it all the time. You'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Not everyone would want to have a lot of sex all the time, but the fact that he was talking a lot about it indicates to me that he most likely got high physics, and as well as boxing itself is a kind of sport that attracts so much all the people with high physics because it's obviously very physical, very body challenging, and it's very focused around your body, and physics is about body, so makes sense. So I would totally expect him to have high physics.
The realization of the situation, I forget that I'm that guy. I forget that I trained that hard and I became a fighter and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, does it seem like a dream?
Yeah, pretty much like a blur.
Oh, he's been pretty modest. I noticed that he had a little bit of hard time answering questions, and Joe Rogan keeps trying to engage him, and he's trying really hard. Most of the time Joe Rogan talks, and the other guest also talks, but Mike Tyson talks very little, very hard to get him to talk. Usually indication of low logic, and I think it's most likely lost logic.
Took time for me to get used to that stuff. I used to be one of those, get the fuck away from me, man. What are you doing, you creep? You know what I mean? Because I never knew how to conduct myself. Like, Mike, come here. Take a picture of my mother. Take a picture of my kid. Take a picture here. Take a picture here. I love you, this and that. I'm like, whoa, dude, cool out. You know what I mean? But now, I understand this is just what it is. It is what it is, and you're not going to be able to stop it.
He's having a little bit of hard time dealing with people. He doesn't really know what to do when they give him too much attention. So it probably means that his emotion is not very strong, and in particular because of his reaction, I think that he might have third emotion because he's very shy, interestingly, and this is how third emotion would behave in this situation.
What do you think Khabib's going to do now?
What I think, who? Khabib?
Yeah.
Well, he does whatever the fuck he wants to do. That's what I think. I think that guy's probably the best lightweight of all time. He's a monster.
Incredible.
I think he's probably going to have some fights at 170 pounds eventually, if I'd imagine. At 155.
This is funny. Who is professional boxer here? Mike Tyson or Joe Rogan? Well, I don't know about Joe Rogan experience, but he certainly doesn't have experience of Mike Tyson. And what's happening? Mike Tyson asking Joe Rogan what he thinks other boxers are gonna do. I think it's a great illustration of interaction between last logic and first logic, because Mike Tyson got last logic and he just wants to know Joe Rogan's opinion, and Joe Rogan is very happy to talk in extents, everything he thinks, very easily, while Mike Tyson struggles to say what he thinks. Very interesting.
And obviously he doesn't have to for money. I mean, he's rich as shit now.
Yeah.
But he's just a monster. Best grappler I've ever seen inside the 155-pound division. He just smashes people.
What do you think about John Jones, though?
It's I don't know, 5 minutes or 3 minutes later. Since Mike Tyson asked the question and Joe Rogan still talks. So funny.
When you're 20 years old and all of a sudden you're the heavyweight champion of the world, and just a few years ago you were poor, and now all of a sudden you're the king of the world.
That's really crazy. So young, it's really crazy. I was unable to handle it. I wasn't expecting that. That was a really sucker punch right there.
Charlie Murphy.
That's a real sucker punch right there. I wasn't ready for that one.
Charlie.
Interesting, despite him, you might think he is a very, very tough guy, but at the same time, he is acknowledging that he wasn't able to handle this level of pressure. And I mean, it would be hard for any type, but I think especially people with weak extroverted sensing, they're especially vulnerable in situation of getting rapid success, when you get a lot of fame, money, like you got everything you could have dreamed of. But what's wrong? It's just too much to handle, a lot of stress, so much attention from everyone, so much responsibility, etc., etc. And this kind of stresses is people with strong extroverted sensing, especially extroverted sensors, are the best equipped to deal with, because this is what extroverted sensing is for, is to be able to control things and to control yourself and to control also like level of stress and pressure, and they would be better dealing with this kind of thing.
Oh, you have to reflect on yourself to discover who you really are.
Yeah,
that's the champ right there.
That's you at peak crazy.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah.
Tom, what was going through my mind? I don't know what made me think about. My friend said, Mike, you can get some awesome animals. And
this is already third time in the past few minutes that he reflects on his past. And ability to look back in time and compare your current self to your past self, and to see what mistakes you did, and try to change yourself, try to improve. It's introverted intuition.
And he's like, we're coming to your show. And I was like, oh my God. And I really did say, like, I'm amazed that you're coming. And he said, it's all love. And I just said, I love you. Because I didn't know what to say. And then
that was good.
And he's like, cool. He's like, all right, man.
There was a little bit of introverted ethics from both, because love is constituent of introverted ethics, as well as after Mike Tyson making ethical assessments, when he said that it was good, it was cool.
You know what? The best thing that ever happened to me, that I retired from boxing, because me working out and me getting, I was so intense with this. My whole objective was hurting people and wanting to be the best, and my ego took over, and I'm like Tyson, I'm the best to ever live, and all this bullshit. And
if you really have this kind of big ego, and from his description, I believe that he did, then it's a clear indication of having a first will. And interesting that later on he kind of toned down it a little bit. He is, even in this interview, he doesn't appear that kind of egocentric, selfish person. Of course, the third emotion plays a role in it, and I believe that he got third emotion. But as he said himself, he changed. And it's not, his first function is not as evident anymore. And if you work on yourself, you can do it with any first function, because first function isn't really the best side of you. You can hurt other people, you can hurt even yourself. It's inflexible, it's blind, and the only good thing about it is how strong it is. But that's about all, and yeah, you really like it in yourself. So, but in the same time, toning it down, it would make anyone to become a better person, regardless of whichever exactly their first function is.
Hey, did you ever do any fighting?
I did kickboxing and
Tell me about
taekwondo
that.
tournaments. I was pretty good at taekwondo. I won a bunch of state championships, and I won a few national tournaments.
When did you know you wanted to get physical with another human being and do this stuff? Because you can't be in right frame of mind to want to do this stuff.
No.
You gotta realize that.
I was
People
very
that do
scared.
this stuff are not in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
And that's dealing with fear drives you insane.
Yeah.
To deal with that drives people insane. I was insane during my career. Yes, madly insane from fear.
This is very curious. The kind of fear that he is talking about is the fear of danger and threat coming from having to fight another person, and from all the pressure that is put on you when you're in boxing ring. So danger, threat, it's extroverted sensing. And to fear in this kind of situation is totally normal. But when he describes his experience as he's going insane. He's going insane from this level of pressure and this level of threat. And this tells me that unlike extroverted sensors, his psychic is not equipped to deal with this kind of situations. For example, extroverted sensors, they even put themselves sometimes in a high pressure situations, and that's where they excel and they do better than anybody else in this kind of situations. And he is on the opposite. When there is too much pressure, he's going insane. But let's go back and compare this to something else he was saying earlier in the interview.
I'm gonna sell these cars to somebody and get some horses and stuff. I said, what, you can get horses and trade horses in for cars? Because I had a lot of cars, so I said, I'll probably get some horses too. And they said, yeah, man, you get cougars, lions, tigers. I know this guy got exotic. I said, you do? Can you get me some tigers? He said, yeah. And the guy told me, and the guy said, man, imagine how cool that be you be. Because I had a bunch of fancy cars. Imagine that, man, you be in an Aston Martin or a Ferrari and you have a tiger right next to you.
It never gets, this is a crazy picture. You in your underwear with a tiger on a chain.
So this is contradictory to me. He doesn't afraid to handle tigers like that. And in the same time, he fears so much his opponents in the ring that he's going insane. And this is very contradictory to me, because to me, being around a tiger, even though like maybe he raised him and stuff, it's much more dangerous because tigers are animals, they are unpredictable. And facing your opponent on the ring, yes, of course, it could be scary, but you're in controlled environment. You got all the people around, you got like medical assistants and all kinds of stuff. If anything goes wrong, you know, this person is not gonna kill you, but the tiger certainly can kill you if you are not careful. But he doesn't afraid tigers, but he is very afraid opponents. Doesn't make sense, it doesn't match. So this kind of behavior, and also notice how he's talking about his luxury cars and how he liked to have a lot of them and he wants to have something more to look more cool. So this all indicates that he values extroverted sensing, but he doesn't have it strong because he cannot deal with it on a level that extroverted sensing person can. As well as this kind of behavior is pretty typical with mobilizing extroverted sensing.
The first time we did it on Broadway, that is, right? We were really not sure about how it was going to turn out. So we invited all of our friends. We had tickets and gave all to our friends and people we love, like neighbors, and we brought them to the show. And so when we started, they started laughing. Everybody started laughing. So I ran to my wife. I ran upstairs. I said, baby, what's going on? Is everything okay? Because, you know, I didn't want the show to be a comedy. It turned out to be a comedy. It was supposed to be a hard, gritty show about a tough guy that made it through his toughness. And it just came up about me just talking about myself, how much a smuck I am.
Being a person of high will in physics, and according to his words, destroying his opponents and being very confident. And compared to that, in emotional sphere, he shows unconfidence and doubtfulness. At that point, he's been a public person for a long time. And even though they invited all of their friends and not strangers to this show to make him like the most comfortable possible, it just shows how uncomfortable he is with emotion, because they reacted unexpectedly, they laughed, and he feared they may be laughing at him, something is wrong, and he immediately seeks the support of his wife in terms of emotion and to reassure that he is doing everything right. So this is very indicative of behavior of certain emotion. But this also suggests me that his extroverted ethics is not very strong, because he was totally caught by surprise how people reacted to what he was saying. And people with strong extroverted ethics, they are much better at predicting that and manipulating, influencing, and creating different range of emotions. Okay, it's time to wrap it up. Logic or ethic? During the whole interview, Mike Tyson didn't show any special interest towards people. He never talked in detail about them, about their qualities, or about how he feels about different people, and so on and so forth. And all he did is just bringing up some memories from his past. There were a few times where he brought a little bit of introverted ethics, which would suggest that he most likely got it in values, but it was never at a level that would indicate of him having it strong, the same with extroverted ethics. So this all leads to him being a logic. Next, intuit or sensor. Well, he mentioned time and time again introverted intuition, even though it wasn't like a very prominent and deep, which could be explained by his psychosophy. But what's important that despite clearly demonstrating that he got extroverted sensing in values, he was behaving more like intuit that doesn't have it very strong. So that's why he is intuit. And additionally, as I already mentioned, he demonstrated values of the third quadrant, such as introverted intuition, extroverted sensing, and introverted ethics. So this all matches of him being logical, intuitive extrovert. And now let's move on to his psychosophy. Well, from the beginning of the interview, it was clear that he got high will in physics. And later on, we clarified that he got first, not a second will. And in terms of physics, having second physics, this is a perfect kind of physics to have as a fighter, because you are very flexible, you're tireless, you're fearless with your body, and you like exercising, you like physical contact. So here you go, he is a world famous boxer. And later on I saw multiple things pointing out third emotion and accordingly force logic. Okay guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you think in the comments and who would you like to see typed next. And leave a like and subscribe if you want to support this channel. See you in the next videos.